Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been so long and a lot has just happened. A lot is still happening, and so I thought I would come and share a few tips about what could have better prepared me for life after graduation. The content today is a bit different, but we do not exist as Christians outside of the real world. We have real world matters to actually tackle, and so we don't live in a vacuum. So I thought you might benefit from this. And okay, so if you recently started following me, or if you recently subscribed, because this is YouTube, yes, if you recently subscribed, you might not know, but I recently graduated. I was studying economics and I graduated, but there's a couple of things I wish I had known or taken seriously. I knew these things and I did try to the best of my abilities to actually follow through, but I feel if I had known these tips beforehand, I perhaps would be in a better situation now. So the first thing is to learn good financial habits. You want to make sure before you graduate that you learn very good financial habits, because these will determine just how well you will flourish after graduating, even during your degree. So I don't know what your situation is, but if you have no background in financial literacy, you definitely want to invest in that now. You want to make sure you start reading books about finances, personal finances. I highly recommend The Richest Man in Babylon. That was the first personal finance book I read, and that definitely helped. I highly recommend The Millionaire Next Door. I highly recommend what's Steve's book? What's the book called? Oh my gosh, you guys! I forget the name of the book. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. I think that's it. Yes, that one. It's a bit skewed toward the American logic, but it does help. It has really good tips to help you, especially if you are in debt at the moment. And so, yes, the first thing would be learn good financial habits. Try to learn how to invest money, how to save money, how to spend money. And this then leads to my second point. Before graduating, in fact, as a very young child, people at home used to drill it in my head to save money. But while leaving home and starting afresh on your own because you've started uni, I just kind of felt like it was okay for me to live a little. So my financial habits just kind of changed. And so saving was not a very big part of my spending habits, and I did not take it seriously. So we had some funny noise coming, so I had to cut the video for a bit. So every single time my granny would call me and ask me if I was, guys, I think you can hear it, but never mind it. My granny would try and ask me how much I had in my savings, and I just say, no, live a little, it doesn't matter. I just thought my granny was just a cake, and she did not exactly have the same feelings about money as I had, and I thought I was more progressive. But as I would learn sooner, there actually is no progression when it comes to money. The same secrets that were used 60 years ago are the same money secrets that we are still going to use today. So the big thing is to save money, especially if you're going to if you're about to graduate. You want to make sure you have enough in your savings to actually carry you through to whatever you're going to do next. If you are going to study in a different country, you want to start having savings, putting savings aside so that it can help you settle into the new country. If you're going to be working, you want to have savings to help you kickstart your life as a young professional. If you're going to be getting married, you want to start saving up money for that. So you just want to save money. So your final year in uni is really not a year to be spending a lot of money. It's a year to be saving more than you spend. So save. Last night I asked a friend of mine something he could tell me, a piece of advice that he could tell me as someone who's slightly older than I am. And he said, save and invest. So I think that's the biggest advice in 2 words: save and invest. You can start a small business. I will try and make a video about how I started 2 of my businesses with no capital at all, if you want me to do that. You can just put that in the comments section, and I think, yeah, that would help. And that leads to the 3rd point: start planning very early. And when I say start planning, I don't mean start fantasizing in your head and just leave it at that. When I say start planning, I mean think of what you want to do, pray about it, ask God for direction, and then act. Don't just say, I'm still praying about it, and just not do anything. Pray, but at the end of the day, remember, you need to do your part. You need to push in. You need to do what you have to do. You need to put in the effort. So try as many things as you want. If you feel called to study further, then perhaps that's what God wants for you to do. So start looking into which unis you want to go to. And Father Mike Schmitz has a very good video on discernment and stuff like that, so I'll try to link that, and you can check it out if you like. But yes, you need to start planning really early. Do not wait until the final 2 weeks or the final 2 months to start planning and all that. The 4th point is have as many plans in place as options. I cannot stress this enough, because I had a plan. I had 2 plans, but both my plans did not exactly work out the way I had expected them to do then, because of coronavirus and everything that's happening. Things changed for a lot of people. But be prepared to have a lot of changes, because life after graduation is just so unexpected. Even before, life is just so volatile, and you need to have as many plans as you possibly can in place. So try to have plans beforehand. Make plans. Start early. If you want to study further, check out what the requirements of the course are, and check out when deadlines come through. If you need to write any external examinations, check that out. If you need to, oh my gosh, this noise, guys. If you want to work, then start looking into companies and what they require, and see if you have to actually acquire any new skills for your dream job or whatever. The 5th thing is, do not be rigid. I know this more than you think I do, that when you want something in your life, you want it. And it's so sad, but to be very honest, you probably are not going to get the exact thing that you want. Perhaps you may. I mean, God does wonderful things and God does amazing things, so that's very possible. But do not be rigid. If you have the plan of getting married after graduation and having 3 kids soon after, and God says, no, this is not exactly what I have for you in my plans right now. It's good to have a plan, but do not be too rigid. Do not stand there and say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to wait until this comes to pass, because it might not. And so you need to have as many plans as possible. Listen to what other people have to say, which leads to the 6th point, which is have a strong relationship with your loved ones. If you are in a great relationship with your parents, try to maximize that great relationship. Try to make emotional deposits and build stronger relations. Build strong relations so that when they give you advice, you know it's coming from a place of love, and that they know what you want out of life. And so try to build bonds with the people you love. Try to build bonds with your parents and your guardians if you really can. Those would be very good torch bearers, because they have gone through this. So asking them, having their wise input really is life-changing. It's eye-opening too. So try to invest in your relationship with your parents or your guardians, and if you're married, your husband or your wife or whoever. And yes, the 7th thing is prepare for change, because change is going to happen. I do not know who exactly said it, but some person once said, in business, if something is likely to go wrong, it will happen. So if your plan is likely going to change, then it probably will change. I'm not saying do not have faith in God. You should have the utmost faith in God, because God will come through for you. But you need to remember, because you are human, some of the desires you have in your heart are not from God. And God gives us desires. God gives us the desire, the grain God sows a desire in my heart. God sows a desire in your heart. But what happens is, because we're human beings and we're fallen beings, we sin. And so oftentimes our desires get mingled with certain worldly things that we want, and then we think that going after those things will satisfy that desire. But it's actually not what you want. For example, if you say, I want to study health sciences. Perhaps you want to study health sciences because you want to prove a point that you are a brainy, and the desire in your heart is really just the desire to be acknowledged. And so God obviously knows that you want to be acknowledged, but he knows you're taking this path not for the right reasons. He obviously won't give it to you because it's going to send you down this downward spiral which you're not meant to go through. So you need to remember that not every desire you have is from God. And any desire which is from God, God will fulfill that desire. And he might not do it in a way you want it to happen, but God will fulfill the desires of your heart that come from him. And so prepare for change. Prepare for change. Prepare for your plan to change. Prepare for friendships to change, because this is what happens. Friendships after uni are so different. They're so different. Oh my gosh, you do not get to see these people. You don't get to see these people every single day anymore. And it's so hard in the first few weeks, but you need to remember that life is different for each and every person, and we are all running our own races, different races. And yes, circumstances might actually bring us together, but we are not going the same way. We are not running the same race. And so prepare for changes. Friendships are going to change, and this is exactly where you need to become very intentional about your friends and the friendships you want to actually carry on with. And you need to make time. You need to be very intentional, and your routines are probably going to change. So just put it in your heart that you are willing to change. Remember that you are clay in God's hands. I think it's Jeremiah 16 or Jeremiah 18, 1-6. And it's a very short passage, and it talks about how God sends Jeremiah to go and see a potter who is creating something, and the potter does not like what is in his hands, and so he is trying to remodel it. And God says to Jeremiah, this is exactly, do you honestly think I cannot do the very same thing with you? And this is just to say, you are clay in God's hands, and God knows the pressure that you need to go through certain things you must go through. God knows just what you need to be the person he has called you to be. God knows all the things that are going to satisfy you. And so if your plan, you and I are very myopic beings. We only see as far as our nose is. And so really it's our plans, our desires are not exactly long-standing, but God sees the whole picture. And so if your plans change, trust that it is good. Trust God. Trust God, trust God, trust God. So yes, I hope this helps, and I hope you learned something. My Instagram is going to appear. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and if it does help you, if any of these tips helps you, please consider sharing the video so that other people come across the video and perhaps gain something from it. May God continue to bless you. Bye.